Hey guys, it's Comic Quiz here bringing the comic review, and today we'll be doing X-Men issue 5, and this is chapter 3 of the Battle of the Atom story arc that's been going on for the X-Men series across all X-Men titles. So this is the third chapter, and this is mainly focusing on finding Jean and young Jean and young Scott, because they ran off last issue when the future X-Men said that they need to go back to the first class X-Men need to go back to the past because they're killing the future. So yeah, this pretty much focuses on the future X-Men and some of the current X-Men squad, well, the older members like Wolverine, Storm, and all them trying to actually find Jean and Scott. So yeah, this is what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so also in this issue we find we get a bit of a lot of scenes with Scott and Jean, how they're talking about how they don't want to go back to the past, how especially Jean in particular, because she knows how her life's gonna pan out, how she dies twice, she gets possessed by the Phoenix, all those things. So she doesn't want to have to go through that. She doesn't want to have to go through pretty much being condemned to what her life is going to be like. And Scott understands that, but they also, at least, which actually I was happy for that they said this, they actually admitted that they admit that what they're doing is a bit selfish, but they don't want that. They're trying to find someone that can understand their situation, that even though what they're doing is selfish and dangerous at the same time, but shouldn't they have the right to decide whether they want to go back or not? So this is pretty much what a lot of their conversations all about throughout the issue. Also, we get a little bit of scenes with Kitty Pryde and Rachel Gray, who are discussing about this current situation, talking about how they understand how they might be feeling right now, why they might not want to go back why they might not want to go back into the past, especially in the case of Jean, especially with Rachel, because she's from the future herself and she hasn't gone back to her present time, so she understands being time displaced and everything, and how they might be feeling, how they feel that they can forge a better life for themselves in the present rather than going back to the past. So they decide to actually go and help them, to go meet up with everybody else and try and help Jean and Scott escape. So what else happens in this issue? Also, I forgot to mention, but in the beginning we get a little bit of not a backstory, but a little bit of why Jean wears that future Jean wears that mask. It's because of the fact that her powers have grown so powerful that it kind of affects people. So she needs to wear that mask to kind of keep her powers in check. Also, it was made known that this Jean is in fact this Jean is actually the future self of the young Jean that we have right now, the first class Jean. This is her older self. So it kind of begs the question: is the reason why she's in this the future X-Men team, is because she never went back, or is it because she went back she went back to the past and kind of like grew up, joined them, which is highly unlikely, to be honest. But the first option makes more sense, that she stayed in the present. So I'm interested to see where that goes. Also, yeah, eventually in this issue, the X-Men do find Jean and Scott, and they get into a bit of a scuffle. Cyclops starts blasting people, in particular Beast. They try to get away, but then they get caught by everybody else that's surrounded. But then Rachel and Kitty Pryde actually come in and start accusing everybody else, saying like, why are you ganging up on them? Leave them alone. How do you expect them to react when you're all surrounding them, attacking them? Which kind of annoyed me, to be honest. She's just like pointing the finger at everybody else, even though it was Cyclops that was doing the fighting in this whole issue. So yeah, while this is happening, Jean and Scott use this distraction to escape, and they end up disappearing with each other. Also, Jean also mentioned that she had someone she wanted to contact, but Scott wouldn't like it, and we find out in the end of the issue that who she contacted was the Uncanny X-Men with older Cyclops and his team, and that's where the issue ends. So now these two, Scott and Jean, are now with the Uncanny X-Men, and this will continue in Uncanny X-Men next week. So overall, I like this issue. the whole time aspect of this series is it's very fun to see how past, present, and future versions of characters like Beast in particular, actually, because he's got his younger self, his present self, and then his future self, how they all interact, how they have to come up with different kind of like code names for them, so like everybody knows who they're talking to. Like I think it was the older Beast who called present Beast middle Beast, just like distinguish everybody from each other. So I thought it was interesting to see. Also, how like all these the knowledge how the future X-Men using the knowledge of the future to kind of like solve problems for themselves in the present, like because Jean and Scott took the Blackbird in, I think it was issue 2 of this, or chapter 2, sorry. Charles Xavier's grandson, he knew about the Dove, which is the new kind of Blackbird that they use in this issue, and which hadn't been completed in the present yet, but decided to use it anyway. And it was just brought up because of the whole fact, because they knew that this was made from the future. So that was interesting to see. So yeah, like I said, I give this a 7. Also, the artwork before I finished was actually quite decent, but I didn't like the fact that sometimes some of the characters, especially the younger characters, were made to look older than they actually are. Like Jean, for a lot of it, she looked like somebody who might have been in her early 20s, which is only 16. And same thing with Scott as well. Although it wasn't as bad with Scott, but it did annoy me. I don't like it when artists make characters, especially young characters, look older than they actually are. So that was a bit of a grab I had with the art. But overall, it was pretty solid. So yeah, overall I give this a 7. And that's this review, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Tell me in the comments down below what you think of this issue and the whole series so far. You're loving it? Are you hating it? Tell me in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to like my video and subscribe to my channel. This has been Comic Quiz. I'll see you guys next time. See ya.